Hi, Voidivai. I bet you've never experienced true silence in your entire life. And if you ever do, you're not going to like it. Because when every single sound around you disappears, one sound remains. You.
Your heartbeat, the rush of blood through your veins, the subtle movement of your eyeballs, even the faint electrical noise of your own nervous system. With every passing minute, these sounds grow louder and clearer until they become overwhelming. After 15 minutes, you start hearing your own heart as a distinct sound. By 30 minutes, you hear the flow of blood and your eyes moving. And around the 45-minute mark, most people start banging on the door, desperate to get out. Because your brain begins hearing sounds that aren't even real. But here's the thing. This isn't torture, it's just silence. Today we're going to figure out why the brain can stay quiet and what the silence actually reveals about every single one of us. This is Stephen J. Orfeld, the founder of Orfeld Laboratories in Minneapolis, United States. In 2021, his lab set the current Guinness World Record for the quietest place on Earth, known as 24.9 decibels.
Wait, minus?
Yes, the decibel scale is logarithmic. 0 is the threshold of human hearing. A whisper is around 30 decibels. A quiet library is about 40 decibels. Normal conversation sits at 60 decibels. In this room, it's minus 24.9 decibels, quieter than anything the human ear can naturally detect. So, how do they achieve this? The walls, ceiling, and floor are covered with massive wedge-shaped absorbers made of fiberglass or a layer of foam. The entire room floats on springs, completely isolated from the building foundation. There are 6 layers on insulation in total. You're essentially sealed inside a vacuum pack of silence. Most people who visit can last more than 45 minutes. By that point, they start experiencing auditory hallucinations and losing their sense of space and balance. It becomes unbearable. The brain starts behaving in very unnatural ways.
But why? What is it about complete silence that affects us so deeply? This is where it gets really fascinating. Your brain isn't just a passive receiver of sound. It actively predicts the world around you. The auditory cortex, the part of the brain that processes sounds, doesn't work like a microphone. It works like a hypothesis generator. It constantly asking, what should I hear next?
Footsteps in the hallway. The brain predicts them a fraction of a second before you even noticed. The fridge humming in the background, you stop hearing it because your brain filled it away as a predictable and unimportant. Predictable equals irrelevant. But now, remove everything. No footsteps, no humming, no traffic outside, no ventilation, not even the subtle echo of your own breathing in the space. The auditory cortex panics. It keeps asking for input, but there's nothing there.
So, what happens next?
The brain starts creating sound on its own. This is called tinnitus, the ringing in your ears. Everyone has it to some degrees, but everyday background noise usually masks it. In absolute silence, there's no mask, so you hear the internal electrical activity of your nervous system, literally. But that's just the beginning. In full sensory deprivation, the brain goes even further. It doesn't just amplify internal signals, it starts generating full perceptual experiences. Hallucinations. This was proven back in 1950s by psychologist John Lilly. He studied sensory deprivation using isolation tanks filled with warm water. You float in complete darkness. In water the exact same temperature as your body. You feel no pressure, no boundaries of your own body. And within 30 to 90 minutes, the subjects began experiencing vivid visual and auditory hallucinations. The brain literally cannot stay silent.
Let me stop you right here, because there's something we rarely talk about. You think silence is simply the absence of sounds. But what if actually silence is the moment when you can avoid hearing yourself? You've never truly been in complete silence. You've never heard yourself before. And that new experience, it quickly becomes unbearable. Why? I have a hypothesis I'd like to share with you.
Anthropologist Edward Hall once noted that humans maintain distance not just in physical space, but also in time and in sound. We surround ourselves with noise, not out of habit, but as a defense mechanism. Think about it. What happens when you're left in complete silence? You start thinking. And not just thinking, you start hearing the thoughts you've been drawing out with music, podcast messages, and Netflix for years. Noise isn't just a distraction, it's a barrier between you and you. A famous study by Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia 2014 showed something shocking. When people were left alone in an empty room with no phone or entertainment for just 15 minutes, most preferred to shock themselves rather than sit with their own thoughts. People literally choose pain over silence. 67% of men and 25% of women press the button at least once, voluntarily, because external discomfort is often easier to handle than the quiet inside your own head. But there's one more layer, an evolutionary one. Ask yourself, when does complete silence even happen in nature? Exactly, when something is wrong. Silence in the forest is a danger signal. Birds stop singing, the insects stop chirping. A predator is nearby. Our brains are wired to interpret silence as a threat at the deepest, more ancient level. That's the amygdala, the brain fear center. It doesn't only react to loud noises, it also reacts at the sudden absence of sounds. Because when the background noise disappears, something bad is probably happening. That's why in horror movies, the scariest moment aren't when the loud music is playing. It's when the music stops. Silence. Your brain did exactly what it's supposed to do. It sensed danger. So let's put it all together. The brain craves sounds, and if it doesn't get any, it creates its own. Silence is evolutionarily coded as threat. When left alone with ourselves, we often choose pain. And yet, even major meditative tradition in human history, from Buddhist monks to the Stoics, from Pascal to Thoreau, says the exact same things. That is the work. Pascal wrote in 17th century.
All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone.
Thoreau didn't go to the woods because he hated people. He went because he wanted to hear himself. Buddhist meditation isn't about relaxation, it's training yourself to sit with the inner noise without running away from it. We live in an era where silence has become a luxury. We block out the world with noise cancellation headphones, but then immediately fill our ears with more content. We eat while watching YouTube. We walk while listening to podcasts. Even reading feels unbeatable without some kind of external stimulation. We've built an entire civilization of constant sound. Maybe we're all just desperately trying to run away from ourselves. We're willing to spend time and money on therapy, to work on ourselves. But how rarely are we willing to simply sit alone in silence? Let's go back to the anechoic chamber. The people who have spent the most time in there say it was the strangest experience of their lives. Not because it was scary, but because they finally heard how their own body works. A machine running non-stop from the moment we're born until the day we die. It's been making sound the whole time, we just never listen. Because there's always something louder. Music, people, notifications. We've created a world where it's almost impossible to experience real silence. Maybe it's not that we can't, but that we don't want to. Because in silence, only one sound remains. You. So, the real question isn't whether you're afraid of silence. It's what exactly you'll hear when it finally arrives.